Greetings to you, Saints. This is Archbishop Kirby Clements, presiding leader of the International Communion Charismatics Churches. And this is another session of our Global Voices. As you know, our mission is connecting the world through gifts and calling. And I have the privilege today to bring in one that I've known for many years, who's probably what I'll call close to one of the founders of the ICC, because he's been there almost from the very beginning, has an effective, efficient network. And I wanted him to come on and talk to us this morning about what he does to make this network continue to go, to be interactive, to be productive, and give us some insight. Bishop Warren, talk to us.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for the opportunity, Archbishop, and it's an honor to be on with you and to share today. One of the things with our network, the International Network of Affiliate Ministries, the acronym is INAM, I-N-A-M, is that I've made it all about them and not about me. When they call me, it's about them. It's about their vision. It's about what are you doing? How can I build on what you're doing? How can I support you? And so I never made it about me. I made it about them. And so many networks are personality driven around the primary personality, the presider. And I just did the opposite. I made it none about me, all about them. And then when it wasn't about them, it was about him. So just tried to keep that as a central focus. What are you doing? How can I help you? How are you impacting your community? I don't just talk to the guys about church, but I talk to them about community, about calling, about character, the 3 C's. And I just really want them to really emphasize that. Don't just be a 4-wall ministry, but be about your community. What are you doing in your community? What about your character? And then what about your calling? And so those are the focal points, making the vision always about them and not about me. And then when it's not about them, it's about him. And then here's the third thing. I never made it about money. I never did. Whether they send a tithe to the network or not, whether they send a donation to the network or not, whether they send a tithe or donation to me or not, I never ever treat any of them any differently based on their monetary giving. I just want to love all of them. And they have said themselves, you have the ability to make all of us feel important when we're around you. So what I want to do is take money out of the formula. Now, we know we need money. We have an organization to run. We've got costs, we've got staff, we've got buildings, we've got office, we've got equipment, but I've never made it about money. And there are times when I need to put my own personal money in rather than tax the network, rather than tax our pastors. So I never made it about money. If they stop giving, I still keep loving. If they stop sending, I still keep loving. I don't make it I don't make them any more or less valuable based on the monetary giving that they do or don't give. And so as a result, we've maintained, we started our network, Archbishop, in 1995. And we're still going today. And when I tell people there are 45 ministries in our network, some say, well, it hasn't grown. Well, that's by design, because whenever one leaves, then I add another. I don't just keep stacking churches on top of churches, because realistically, you can't relate to all of them with any kind of quality relationship. And I really emphasize quality in our relationships. I want to know each one of their children by name. Every Wednesday afternoon, I spend time praying just for pastors' kids, just for their kids. So I know their children by name. When I come into their cities, their communities, their homes, their ministries, I'm able to relate with their children by name. And so I'm not able to do that effectively if my numbers get all out of whack. If I have 100 churches I'm trying to relate with. So I keep that number at 45. And when one leaves, then another joins. I have many, many applications, many inquiries to join INAM, but I do not allow them to join until one is released. Now, that doesn't happen often. We don't see many ministries dropping out of INOM. Many of the guys have been with me since the inception. So I guess the waiting list can get kind of long, but I would rather do it this way. And I don't count second generation family. For instance, I have one pastor, Ruben Aristides, who is a Haitian, and he's over Haiti. So the 8 churches in Haiti, I don't count in the 45. I just count him because I relate with him and then he relates with them. And that's the best way. So when I go into Haiti, I go in there and all my relationship with them is based on my relationship with him. And so I don't count second generation as in the network. I only count first generation family. And so those are the pastors that are over those particular areas. Like in Uganda, we have 2 churches there. Well, I just simply relate with the one. Sister Grace, Pastor Grace is my contact with Uganda. We're going to Kenya next month, but I don't count all of those guys in our network, even though they call me father. I don't do it. I just relate with them when I get there. And we have one guy that relates with all of them, and then I relate with him. So that's kind of how we've done it. And then I want to emphasize 2 more things, and then I'll let you ask me whatever you want to ask me. I don't think that people should gather to have a crowd. So we don't make the number the emphasis. We gather to get something done. So we're not gathering to have a crowd. We don't care about how many are in INOM. What's important is what is INOM doing. And so we don't gather for a crowd. We gather to get something done. And I oftentimes tell people INOM wouldn't exist without Lady Ella because I want to communicate with our pastors once a month, a minimum. Some of them I talk to them 2 or 3 times a month, but at least once a month. And when I'm not communicating with them, when I'm not contacting them, Lady Ella is. So we keep the communication and the relationship strong. And I really believe that's what sustained us over the years.
Well, Bishop, that's one of the reasons I wanted to have you as one of the global voices because networking is a global situation. Leaders
Yes.
all around the world are forming networks. Some are legislative, some are interactive. Yours is interactive. A strong component of your network has always been trust. And so you've answered all the questions that I would have from the standpoint of the duration, the relationship, the atmosphere, the focus, involvement, so all of those. So I want to thank you, and also for those that are listening now, that they would glean from the insights you've given from what I call a very effective interactive network that has stood the time. So thank you, good Bishop from Quincy, Illinois.
This is Carrie Palmon. I am from Cuba, but I reside here in the United States. Come and connect to the global family of the ICCC, your connection to the world. Click to discover more or visit the ICCC.org. I repeat, the ICCC.org. Hola, le habla Cari Palmón. Soy cubana, pero resido aquí en los Estados Unidos. Lo invito a conectarse a la familia global del ICCC, su conexión al mundo. Haga clic para descubrir más acerca de nosotros o visítenos en la siguiente página web: theicccc.org. Repito, theicccc.org. Bendiciones.